evening and welcome to News Watch on Hope TV. Thank you for joining us on this 17th day of June 2020. We are coming live to you from the capital in Nairobi with the latest updates in the country. I'm Melissa Oduor. Our sign language interpreter is Boniface Mureithi. Kenya has hit the 4,000 mark of positive COVID-19 cases after 184 people tested positive to the virus in the last 24 hours. Making the announcement, Health Chief Administrative Secretary Dr. Rashid Aman said only one of the new cases is of a foreigner. Given the demographics of the new cases, Dr. Aman said Nairobi still leads in the number of cases, with males still leading in the cases. 27 patients have also since been discharged, bringing the total number of those discharged to 1,353. 2 more people have sadly lost their lives, bringing to 107 the total number of fatalities. Alice Diana reports.
Despite tough containment measures put in place to combat the spread of COVID-19 across the country, the cases have continued to increase. Kenya hit a record high for new coronavirus cases on Wednesday after 184 cases were confirmed in the last 24 hours from 2,518 samples. The country's total cases have now risen to 4,044. 548 patients are still admitted in various hospitals with COVID-19.
Testing becomes a cardinal feature of the strategy of our response. Testing and accuracy of testing will become increasingly important as these numbers continue to rise.
The new cases include 111 from Nairobi, 19 from Mombasa, 14 in Kajiado, 13 in Meru, and 9 in Kiambu. Other cases were recorded in Busia, which has 6, Machakos 3, Nakuru 4, while Kwale, Kisumu, Garissa, Taita Taveta, and Vihiga recorded 1 case each. Vihiga now becomes the latest county to be affected by the novel coronavirus, bringing the total number of counties with COVID-19 patients to 40. The Nairobi infections were distributed across various sub-counties, with Westlands recording the highest cases, followed by Kibra and Lang'ata. Others are Embakasi East, Dagoretti North, Kamukunji, Makadara, Starehe, Embakasi Central, Roysambu, Embakasi West, Kasarani, and Embakasi South. In Mombasa, the cases were registered in Vita, Changamwe, Likoni, Nyali, Kisauni, and Jomvu. Health Chief Administrative Secretary Dr. Rashid Aman has said larger numbers are expected in Kenya due to the high number of community transmission.
And going forward, we are likely to see larger numbers of positives being returned every day.
The Health Ministry has also urged the public to be alert over several testing kits flooding Kenyan market, saying their accuracy is still uncertain. For Hope TV Newswatch in Nairobi, I'm Alice Diana.
The government, through the Cabinet Secretary of Interior, Dr. Fred Matiang'i, and Health Cabinet Secretary Mutahi Kagwe, has inaugurated the Interfaith Council on the National Response to COVID-19. The launched committee has immediately embarked on the formulation of protocols for the reopening of places of worship in the country. This is after a 3-month shutdown of places of worship by the government to tie down the spread of COVID-19. Our reporter Mark Kimondo has more details.
The 16-member committee, led by Catholic Archbishop Anthony Muheria, is expected to table recommendations to the government in 3 weeks on the reopening places of worship that were closed some months ago. The inter-religious team is now obliged to collect Kenyans' views based on the resumption of places of worship before handing back the report to the government. For months now, the government has been conducting talks with religious leaders on how best places of worship can be reopened amid the coronavirus pandemic in the country. The government is determined to work very closely with faith-based organizations till the final moment that will see the pandemic held down.
We as government, we want to commit that we are not going to leave this table in terms of engaging with you. We want to work together. Very finally, for the last 7.5 or so years I have been in government, I have been the greatest beneficiary of the faith-based leaders in the country. Every time we've had to make very drastic decisions, I can confess to you here, we wouldn't have succeeded in some of those decisions without the support of religious leaders in the country.
Unity will remain the greatest weapon in fighting the deadly virus that has turned down the life equation, claiming lives of thousands around the globe.
As President Kenyatta says, we will rise or fall as a family. Kenya must remain a family, and we must move forward as a family. And families sometimes have active moments of fellowship, but then they come together and pray and then move on.
From the word go, as you know, we started this journey in a very unpredictable, very uncertain, new way of doing things. Having been confronted by a totally new disease that we knew nothing about.
While most faith communities are choosing to adhere to public health guidelines, church leaders are calling on their followers to comply with the regulations and precautions set to fight the killer virus. The government announced the ban of church gatherings and mosque prayers in March as part of a preventive measure to combat the spread of coronavirus. 3 months later, and religious members from different faith-based communities have been staying at home, with some lucky to hold their services online on different platforms. Kenyans are now eager to resume the physical gathering in places of worship after the committee hands over the final report to the president. Mark Kimondo for Hope TV, Nairobi.
2 more political parties have joined the Jubilee Party as coalition partners after KANU Party joined the ruling coalition last month. The Wiper Democratic Movement and the Chama cha Mashinani CCM have both signed cooperation agreements in an event at the Jubilee Party headquarters, witnessed by Jubilee Secretary General Raphael Tuju and Vice Chair David Murathe. The 2 parties have agreed to work with the ruling party in and out of Parliament, as our reporter Joseph Mange explains.
Just a month after the Wiper Party National Executive Council authorized its party leader Kalonzo Musyoka to sign a cooperation deal with Jubilee, the party head has today signed the cooperation agreement with President Uhuru Kenyatta's Jubilee Party. The authorization was in a party's resolution last month, held virtually and attended by more than 50 members of the Wiper Party. The members had unanimously backed the immediate implementation of the cooperation agreement. Today, Kalonzo, alongside Chama cha Mashinani leader and former NASA coalition member Isaac Ruto, have signed the cooperation agreement, which will now see the 2 parties cooperating with the ruling party in and out of the both parliaments. Kalonzo was accompanied by the party's officials, including Ali Chirau Makwere, the chairman, the party's vice chairperson, and Makueni Senator Mutula Kilonzo Jr., and the party's secretary general, Judith Achieng. Speaking during the event at the Jubilee House, Jubilee Party Vice Chairperson David Murathe welcomed the move, adding that it was to foster the unity of the country.
We shall be cooperating inside and outside of Parliament. As we are not homebreakers.
On his part, Jubilee Secretary General Raphael Tuju said that the coalition agreement is part of the president's dream to bring the country together.
It is the dream and intention of President Uhuru Kenyatta to bring this country together. And by bringing this country together, it does not mean some people, but it means all the people of Kenya together.
Early last month, Ruto admitted that he was working on a political deal with President Uhuru Kenyatta. The Chama cha Mashinani party leader, on his part, said that the agreement is part of making sure that the president delivers on his development agenda. Ruto also defended Wiper's possibility to consider changing its leadership in the Senate and the National Assembly committees.
And within political parties, they must be whipped within a clear policy party line. That is the way it is.
The move comes barely a month after Jubilee Party and KANU signed another coalition agreement. The 10th of May agreement saw West Pokot Senator Samuel Pogisho being named the Senate Majority Leader.
And so did the other.
Meanwhile, Kalonzo has asserted that Wiper's membership to the National Super Alliance NASA will not be uttered by the new coalition.
At this particular point, Wiper continues as a member party of NASA coalition, because you can't belong to 2 coalitions at the same time. But I can tell Kenyans that we have absolutely no doubt in our mind as Wiper the direction we have taken. And therefore, if it was not for these COVID challenges, and as soon as there is a ability to move around, we are still consulting with our membership, and our intention is to conclude a coalition agreement with Jubilee.
When asked about his status in the NASA coalition, and especially after teaming up with Jubilee, Kalonzo defended the deal, claiming that NASA's outfit could not hold any party at ransom because there was no activity going on or being planned. As the political temperature in the country continues to heighten, the former Vice President Kalonzo Musyoka has also revealed that his party is teaming up with Jubilee in preparation for the 2022 politics, adding that he had no plans to remain in the opposition and hinting out on a possible sharing of slots in the parliamentary committees.
We cannot hold our members to ransom, and we must be realistic. We are all political leaders, and we know where we want to go.
With the coming in of Wiper and Chama cha Mashinani into the Jubilee coalition, many now wait to see what pans out in the transaction of the business in the parliament and subsequently the ongoing reforms on the constitution through the BBI initiative. For Hope TV News Watch, from Jubilee House, I'm Joseph Maingi.
Thank you.
And President Uhuru Kenyatta says Kenya will advance the Pan-Africanist agenda of global peace, solidarity and multilateralism if elected to join the United Nations Security Council UNSC. Citing Kenya's long history of contributing troops to peacekeeping interventions, Kenyatta said Kenya has the right credentials to represent the African continent in the UNSC. The head of state spoke last night during a virtual campaign meeting with permanent representatives of various countries to the United Nations, hosted by the Kenya head of UNSC elections. Kenya is the African Union-endorsed candidate for the non-permanent seat on the Security Council to represent Eastern Africa. Kenya is vying for the regional slot against the Republic of Djibouti.
A vote for Kenya is a vote for peace. A vote for Kenya is a vote for global solidarity. A vote for Kenya is a vote for multilateralism. A vote for Kenya is that even the smallest voice shall be heard as the largest and most powerful voice. Our peacekeeping missions have been to every single corner of this globe, where our forces have joined hands with others across the globe to bring peace and to bring communities and nations together.
We now take a short commercial break on News Watch. You still have more news in our second segment of this bulletin. Keep it tuned.
Top is back! Now tastier than ever. Available in orange, tropical, apple, mango, and strawberry banana flavors. Stay safe and enjoy great taste with your family. Trade Top, you can't beat this taste.
When we say that at Optiven we care for you, we mean exactly that. Because we are with you every step of the way, and we remain committed to supporting you even through this COVID-19 pandemic. To all our customers who are paying installments for their properties, we are giving you an interest-free period of 6 months with effect from 1st May 2020. This is the time to realize your dream of property ownership. Rest assured of our commitment to support you in this journey. We are putting you first because we care. For more information, call us on 0702 83 1083 or visit www.optiven.co.ke.
Optiven Limited, the pay-setters in real estate.
Only God can turn a mess into a message.
I have a boy on a wheelchair.
Yeah.
I'm still preaching on the pulpit.
Amen. Niliona mguu ya nyuma inakuja tu kunikanyaga, imenilenga tu kwa tumbo. Nikaitana tu Jesus.
I got tired of working with the X-ray papers, and one day I just woke up and decided to burn them.
A test into a testimony.
The whole community didn't want to hear that anybody is born again. Excommunicated, straight.
Bila Yesu hakuna njia.
Join Sharon Naitore Wangenye on Testify.
Katika hiyo harakati hiyo spirit ikakemewa, mimi nimeona Yesu Kristo namna hii. Kwa msalaba. Opa. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Every Thursday at 8 p.m. for a moment to grow your faith some more.
Welcome back. Now, a group of civil society organizations has now added its voice in calling out the executive on its laxity to do its work as stipulated in the Constitution. Working under the referendum debate platform, the National Civil Society Congress joined the Law Society of Kenya LSK to support Chief Justice David Maraga, who last week publicly castigated the executive in its laxity to swear in 41 judges appointed by the Judicial Service Commission JSC. Addressing the press, the Congress President Maurice Odhiambo also urged the Attorney General Paul Kihara Kariuki to resign from his position as the legal advisor to the president. Here is Grace Wangoi with that report.
The National Civil Society Congress, NCAC, has joined forces with the Law Society of Kenya to push for stepping down of the Attorney General, Kihara Kariuki. According to NCAC President Maurice Odhiambo, the Attorney General has taken part in undermining the independence of the judiciary by interfering in the efficient execution of timely justice to Kenyans by failing to appoint the 41 judges. He pointed an accusing finger at the Attorney General for condemning the Chief Justice David Maraga after he called out the President over the appointment of the 41 judges, as well as negligence to the court orders by the executive.
The reaction of the Attorney General would actually be to call out the President himself. If his advice is not being taken, then he should be at the front line of calling out the President to do what is required. Without that, we see that the Attorney General is handling his office in a manner that does not meet Chapter 6 of the Constitution. And we think that he must quit office so that someone who is more competent can take over that job.
The altercations that ensued between the judiciary and the executive has attracted a lot of attention. The Law Society of Kenya, in an address last week, threatened to expel the Attorney General, Kihara Kariuki, and the Solicitor General, Kennedy Ogeto, from the role of advocates of the High Court if the appointment of the 41 judges does not go through.
The Council unanimously resolved to initiate proceedings to remove the Attorney General and the Solicitor General from the list of advocates. What is the consequence of this action? It means as soon as we remove them from the list of advocates, they will cease being advocates of the High Court.
The Chief Justice had blamed the government for slow dispensation of justice to Kenyans due to strained number of judges in courts across the country.
I urge you to now demonstrate that faith and respect the rule of law by complying with those two court orders. In so doing, you will also alleviate much suffering for Kenyans who are seeking justice in our courts.
The Civil Society Congress leader, on his part, has cautioned Kenyans from enjoying the woes of the Chief Justice, adding that Kenyans should be in support of the Chief Justice. The judiciary must not be made subservient to the executive.
For Kenyans who seem to be happy that the Chief Justice is being put down, they must know that the judiciary is extremely important in their lives, even if they have never gone to court themselves. But one day they will appear in court.
Speaking during the press address, National Coordinator of the Referendum Debate Platform, Isaiah Luraya, castigated the Attorney General for undermining the rule of law as well as the Constitution. According to him, Kenyans seeking justice will continue to suffer if he doesn't change his stance in the appointment of judges as well as protection of the independence of the judiciary.
Tunasema hiyo hatua ya mkuu wa sheria ya kumkosoa jaji mkuu ni kudunisha mahakama na pia ni kukosea heshima wananchi wa Kenya na kuonyesha kwamba hawezi wakapata haki wakati wanafanya kuitafuta.
Grace Wangoi, FOB TV News Watch.
NARC Party National Chairman Miltonic Kitute has petitioned President Uhuru Kenyatta to dissolve the Kitui County government due to irreconcilable differences between the County Assembly and the Executive. The dissolution calls are meant to shift attention from the ongoing lobbying in the Assembly to impeach Kitui Governor Charity Ngilu with the collection of signatures to recall all the MCAs for fresh elections. And the two arms of government have been at loggerheads, leading to the delay in passage of the county government bills, to the chagrin of Governor Ngilu, who has accused Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka for undermining her administration through the majority Wiper MCAs in the Assembly. Kitute pointed an accusing finger at the members of the majority wing in the Assembly for playing politics with profound matters affecting the county, leading to backtracking of developmental goals set out by the Ngilu administration.
Distance number.
And as we speak, I hold account Kitui County clinical officers and nurses. And to a light of a few, there is none of these names which was from Kitui County. Really? All of them, they are from other communities. Because we could not have our own county assembly to pass through the Public Service Board.
It is upon the same argument that Wiper MCAs have been always shooting down county budgets. There have been frustrating effort of appointments in terms of the county assembly has also frustrated this government in terms of even approving county public service board, which expired.
90 members of parliament have signed a petition seeking to impeach Transport and Infrastructure Cabinet Secretary James Macharia. The petition filed by Nyali Member of Parliament Mohamed Ali seeks to remove Macharia from office over alleged gross misconduct and violation of the Constitution. A Kenya Defence Forces officer at the Lanet Barracks in Nakuru has been arraigned in a Nakuru court over alleged murder of his wife. Senior Private Kennedy Orieno Olo was arrested over the death of Leah Olo in Nakuru after an autopsy report showed that the wife died of strangulation, despite claims that the wife committed suicide.
The accused person has since Thursday last week been available to the police and has collaborated with them extensively towards investigations and unearthing what unraveled between him and the deceased. Secondly, it is of notorious and fair notice that we are not living in fair circumstances at the moment. The proposal to detain the accused at Bahati Police Station, though fair, has got its own challenges. Principally, the fact that it's at a police station and anybody can access the police station. And with that raises the next step, which is a potential threats of infection and for medical reason, and which militates in public interest.
If we are taking 2 days as it takes the owner, it takes us to Saturday. But a Monday will be okay on our side, the owner. Then we can have the matter mentioned on Monday.
So we can sufficient, and that's why I did propose that, given that we still have tomorrow, we have Friday and Saturday, so that for the public events, they can take tomorrow and then take Friday. Then over the weekend,
From the corridors of justice to the city streets, where the government aims to crack a whip on a cartel that is behind the increasing number of beggars across major streets in the country. Principal Secretary in the State Department of Social Protection, Nelson Mara, says the government is aware of a group of cartels who have made beggars their money-making machines by strategically placing them along the streets every morning to beg from pedestrians. Our very own Dickens Luvanda has compiled this report for us.
Despite being the capital city of East Africa's economic hub, Nairobi has become a notorious city where begging has become a business. Hundreds of women and men, young and old, are turning to begging in Nairobi streets as it has become more lucrative.
I actually don't support because we are encouraging beggars in town, and you find like these people, there are people who have legs, they have their own hands and they can see. So if you have everything, why don't you go and look for job or even hustle?
The government says that it is aware that a criminal network is taking advantage of many persons living with disabilities by turning them into money-making machines.
Hawa huletwa na watu fulani to do business to collect money for them. So the government has done what we call wrecking. Serikali imefanya wrecking, ime-identify ni wahusika ni kina nani, wale wanawaleta. Manake wanadropiwa kwa streets. By saa 10 alfajiri asubuhi, shadropiwa na magari makubwa makubwa. Jioni wanapikiwa tena. Hii pesa wanaokotea watu fulani. Now we are sending a serious warning. This must not continue. And we are not, the government is not going to target yule beggar kwa barabara. Haya. The government is going to target those individuals wenye wanawaleta. I don't want to mention wapi because nita preempt. The massive crackdown. We are working multi-agency with Interior, DCI, vyombo vyote vya dola kuhakikisha kwamba hawa jamaa kuhusisha wa Kenya binadamu kuomba kwa barabara.
Oftenly, the beggars are lined up across busy streets from as early as 4 a.m. every day by cartels in the begging industry, with assurance that compassionate and empathetic Kenyans will definitely drop a coin or even a shilling note as the sun sets.
Wenye mostly mi huona wanaletwa na wanapelekwa ni hawa watu wenye wanaenda na wheelchairs. And so in Kenya we have association ya hivi vitu za hizi naitwa nini kama NGOs za kufacilitate hizo. So mi naweza sema if you see someone mwenye ako hivyo mpeleke kwa hizo NGOs.
During this time they need to be protected. But kuna wale watindi, tuko na wale watindi, tunasema kwa lugha ya Kiswahili watindi. Ukiwachukua kwa streets, ukiwapeleka kwa tuko na hizi institutions nyingi tu mjini Nairobi, tumewachukua tumewapeleka kwa hizi institutions. You know what they do? They run away because wamezoea kwa streets, because wanapewa.
Some of the cartels allegedly use some of the beggars to solicit for donor funds, only to abandon them in the streets once they get the money, with the principal secretary in the State Department of Social Services, Nelson Marwa, warning that there is more to it than meets the eye.
You know, beggary is an institution. Wale wasomi mnajua, beggary is an institution. You can use, is an institution. And there are various forms of beggary. Utakuta mama ako kwa barabara ako na mtoto. Hana shida lakini anatumia mtoto. Atamchuna, alie, ili umhurumie, umsaidie.
Some of the beggars, especially mothers, go to the extent of renting toddlers just to use them to convince you and me to drop them some money. Cross-border human traffickers are majorly accused of being responsible for the increasing number of beggars in major towns across the country, with Mombasa, Eldoret and Kisumu not being left behind. Dickens Levanta, Hope TV Newswatch in Nairobi County.
Let's take another short break on Newswatch. We'll be back with business news.
Join John Carson every weekday as he takes us on a journey through the Bible.
Whoever shall seek to save his life, if you go back to living for yourself, you're going to lose it. But whoever shall lose his life, give up his life for my sake, he shall preserve it.
Enjoy interesting, knowledge-packed, yet simple teachings through his humor and in-depth understanding of God's Word.
The last people that tried to put God in a box, literally, he rose again. He wouldn't stay in their compartment. If God was small enough for me to figure out, he wouldn't be big enough for me to worship.
Tune in to Hope TV for John Cousin every 10 p.m., 4 a.m., and 10 a.m. weekdays on Hope TV, where you look and live.
Welcome back. KCB Group has today disbursed 2.12 billion shillings in dividend earnings to the government of Kenya for the year ending December 2019, signifying a sustained return to shareholders amid a tough operating environment. This return, made up of 1 shillings interim dividend and 2 shillings 50 cents final dividend, is the highest amount the KCB has ever paid in dividends to the government of Kenya. In 2018, the payout was 880 million, I beg your pardon, 826,314. Now, speaking when handing over the check to Treasury Cabinet Secretary Kuriatani, KCB Group Chairman Andrew Wambari Cairo said the bank has over the years consistently maximized shareholder value and provided an unmatched return on investment to its shareholders. On his part, Treasury CS Kuriatani said the payout is timely, coming at a time when there are rising expenditure demands in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic and revenue collections are subdued.
Okay. Good.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
This is my check now.
The money was already sent.
Yeah. On behalf of KCB Group PLC, management and staff, I take this opportunity to thank you, Bwana CS, for the support that you have continued to give KCB in our growth journey. Due to this support, KCB over the years has consistently maximized shareholder value and provided unmatched return on investment to its shareholders. Above all, through the guidance of the Board of Directors and the management leadership led by the Group CEO, we have built a sustainable organization that is now the largest indigenous banking institution in East Africa by assets, profitability, and other key matrices. This is the reason, Mr. CS, that we're here this morning. I am happy to inform you that your investment in the bank generated over 2.1 billion shillings in dividends for the year ending December 2019, which we are excited to have disbursed to the National Treasury earlier this week. This return, Mr. CS, is made up of a 1 shilling interim dividend paid last year, towards the end of last year, and Kenya shillings 250 final dividend, the highest amount we have ever paid to the government of Kenya in the history of the bank. In 2018, we paid 1.8 billion shillings. 10 years ago, sir, we only paid a quarter of what we are paying today, which is 650 million shillings, highlighting the exponential growth of the bank and the group in the last decade. The 2019 dividends are on the back of impressive profit after tax for the year, which increased by 5% to 25.2 billion shillings. During the year, Mr. CS, we also marked a historic milestone with the acquisition of the National Bank of Kenya. This transaction was seamless and thanks to the goodwill and support that we received from the National Treasury. We will always be indebted to you for that support. As a significant player in the banking industry, we believe that our responsibilities go beyond banking, and we are committed to contributing to addressing socioeconomic challenges across the different markets in which we operate. During this season of COVID-19 pandemic, which has affected our economy, we are playing our role to stem the spread of the virus, as well as cushion the economy through various initiatives, among them restructuring of loans for our various customers. We are optimistic that the economy will remain resilient and recover from the impact in the short to medium term. I take this opportunity, Mr. CS, to thank you, the National Treasury, for providing us with a conducive operating environment that enabled us to achieve this success. We are at hand to support the government in driving the economic transformation agenda.
This is coming at a critical time when we need every cent, when we need every shilling, when we need every goodwill and support, not only from the taxpayers, but also our investment organizations, including KCB. This now will go a long way in supporting our budget. We already have a dwindling revenue inflows, and I want to congratulate you for standing tall at this particular time when economic environment is quite harsh. For you at least to have money to make profit that you are now sharing with us, with your shareholders, is quite encouraging.
Let me take that figure again. The 2018 dividend payout was 1,880,826,314. Moving on. An analysis of the financial performance of listed banks done by Cyton Financial Services research team for the first quarter of 2020 indicates that the banking sector has shown resilient performance despite the tough operating environment, which is largely attributable to persistent revenue diversification. The Cyton report carried out a comprehensive ranking of 10 listed banks on the basis of franchise value and also on future growth opportunity. I&M had the highest franchise value score at 51 with a weighted score of 21.6. Cooperative Bank followed with a franchise value score of 49, an intrinsic value score of 2 and weighted score of 22. KCB Group was third with a franchise value score of 56, an intrinsic value score of 3. The report also highlights that banks reported a decline in the quality of their loan books as a result of compliance with the new accounting rules known as IFRS 9, together with the cautious stance that banks have taken to mitigate the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. And we've come to the end of this live broadcast tonight. Thank you for staying with Hope TV News Watch. We'll meet again next time. I'm Melissa Oduor, and our sign language interpreter has been Boniface Mureithi. Have a lovely evening.